I'm Marije Vogelzang, I'm from the Netherlands. I want to say I'm an eating designer, not a food designer, because that would imply that I would actually design food, and I think food is perfectly designed by nature. So I like to look at food from the verb of eating. So I like to look at the psychological aspects of eating, or at the social aspects of eating. The first time I was here was for the Design in Daba conference, where I was to speak in 2008. And now I'm here in Cape Town because I was the guest editor of Design in Daba magazine for the food issue called Design Digest. Yeah, I was really excited because it was like me being in the candy shop where I could just have this list of people that I would want to include, because I was really happy that I got the chance to show that eating design or food design goes beyond only design as well. So there are many people in the world that combine creative thinking to food in an interesting way, in an innovative way. We have a whole range of people in the magazine, and it goes from social behavioral researchers to someone talking about food design that already existed hundreds of years ago, because if you look at it, it's not a completely new thing. So we have all these different angles that are maybe for people unexpected if you think about creative thinking and food. One of the latest things I did is something I'm quite excited about, which is a project in Budapest. I did a kind of art performance there with gypsy women. Because in Hungary they have a big issue with gypsies. It's a problem with integration and acceptance between different social groups. And I thought food is a perfect way to create understanding between social groups. For years I have been thinking about the act of feeding. And I think it's very intriguing that when you're a child, when you're a mother, you feed your child. But when you're an adult, you would never go and feed someone. You would be quite surprised if I would try to feed you now. So feeding is very intimate action. But then I thought maybe that's the way to create understanding, but how can you do that without people being repulsed from it? So I made this installation of 10 tables. So we had 10 gypsy women that were feeding people. And while they were feeding people, they were telling them their life stories. But one essential thing was that you couldn't see the person that was feeding you, because I think you wouldn't accept the act of feeding if you would have eye contact. And what happened is that so many people got touched in their hearts by this experience that they started crying. And also it really pushed the whole debate about gypsy integration in that country. Yeah, people are just very interested in food in general, because it touches your senses, and also because I think it's an emotional thing. Once I did this project with food from the Second World War with people that actually survived the war. They were children during that time, and they ate that food and they didn't taste it for over 65 years. And they got back memories from when they were children, and these were very emotional memories. And I think this is an example of that food is something that touches us all so deeply. I'm doing some big projects with food industry right now, and I'm quite excited because, you know, they are so large that even when you make one little change that might not be, you know, the change of the world, you can already have quite a big influence and quite a big effect on what's happening. And of course, since there are so many issues going on with food at the moment in the world, very many alarming things going on, there's also a need for solutions. So there's this big need for designers that start to work with food that add something to new ways of solutions. The future of eating design, well, I think we have just started really. And I feel like I just opened the doors and just had a little peek inside, because I think there's so much still you can do. And I think the more designers are able to make connections to farmers, make connections to politicians, make connections to mothers, make connections to also big companies with in food industry, to bring in creativity, to make exciting new things. I think there's so much still to be done, and I think, I think this is happening now, and I will know that I will spend my lifetime working on this subject anyway.